Welcome into the 2023 Fantasy Baseball Preview for the Houston Astros. I am Dave Eddy, here with my boy Connor Thomure. And before we get into things, I just want to go over a couple things real quick. First of all, go ahead, hop on over to fantasysixpack.net/plans. You can get access to our award-winning rankings. We have draft tools there. And my favorite part is the Discord, where you've got access to, people like myself. You've got Connor, Joe Bond. I mean, you name it, we're all in there. And you can join in with the discussion, not just with us, but with the other members as well. And make sure you go ahead and hop down there and pop the like button for us. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Turn on notifications so you can get an alert every single time a new one of these videos come out. We're doing one for each team, coming out one a day through February. So I don't want you to miss out on any of those. But Connor, you ready to talk some Houston Astros?
Yep, I'm ready. Let's get into this Astros talk.
All right, buddy. Let's go ahead. We'll start off with the starting lineup here for the Astros, which is going to be looking pretty fierce here, man. We got Jose Altuve right at the top, followed by Michael Brantley. Then we got Alex Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu, one of my favorites, Kyle Tucker, Jeremy Pena, Chas McCormick, and then rounded out behind the dish is Martin Maldonado. So we could go a lot of different ways here, but I want to talk about, two of my just favorite players, not just on this team, but just in baseball in general. And that's Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez. So I want to know from you, and I feel like it's probably a tough question, but if given the opportunity, are you taking Tucker or are you taking Alvarez first?
I agree with you. These are also two of my favorite guys, and they're two MVP candidates who are possible first-round picks in fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
I'm taking Yordan Alvarez for now. He got better on base percentage last year, and he has more power. I can see why you want to take Tucker. He gets the stolen bases, but for me, I think Yordan Alvarez is the safer pick. I had both on a team last year, and I'd be super ecstatic if I can get them both on a team this year again. Not sure it'll happen, but you can only hope.
I don't know how that's going to happen. That would be hard. I tell you, I lean Tucker just for a variety of reasons. I mean, obviously, they offset each other, as, the power and the speed. I think the biggest difference for me, quite simply, is that I think that there's a little bit more to Tucker's game than what we've seen. And I think, even though Yordan is putting up, elite numbers, I don't think he's got a whole lot of room to grow. So there's that. And then there's the fact that I trust Tucker to be healthy more than I trust Yordan to be healthy. If you told me, hey, they're each going to play 155 games, then I'd probably go Yordan. But I'm just the difference between them for me is that I have more confidence that Tucker is going to get me at bats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's hard. It is hard to choose between the two.
I know. Talking about a guy who gets a lot of at bats, Jose Abreu, new addition to, an already loaded lineup. And, this guy is just a model of consistency, basically. So I want to know for, Jose for, 2023, do you think we just lock him in for like 20 home runs and 100 RBIs here in this lineup?
I'm locking him in today. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. In 2021, he had 30 home runs, 117 RBI, a little bit of a down year last year, but the whole White Sox lineup was kind of down last year. You can't blame him for that. I'm locking him into that 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be guys ahead of him, on base for him to knock in. He's going to have protection behind him. I don't know if the lineup that we're looking at, on paper is what it's going to actually look like. But any way you want to organize those top 7 guys, you're going to have guys on base. You're going to have protection. So, he's still got 100 RBI bat, and it's not like this lineup is going to, hurt him by any stretch of the imagination. All right, buddy. Let's hop into, the rotation. Let's talk starting pitchers here. And, again, just like the lineup, this is loaded as well. The way that they've got it here on Roster Resource, we got Framber Valdez, Cristian Javier, Lance McCullers Jr., Luis Garcia, and Jose Urquidy are the 1 through 5. You could probably slice that a whole bunch of different ways and still, be completely solid. But, like I say, man, one of the best rotations in baseball here. If you had to rank them 1 through 5, which shouldn't be as hard as I think it is, how would you do so?
I think I'm doing it pretty much exactly how it's up there on the board. Framber at 1, gets the innings, and he's really good at striking out people too. Javier is like the strikeout master here. He'll strike out everyone. And then at 3, Lance McCullers. We didn't see a whole bunch of them last year, but when we did see him, he was pretty stellar. And
yeah,
I mean, you could easily sub him out for number 2 at Javier, but right now he's at 3. And then behind him, I have Jose Urquidy over Luis Garcia. Those two are right next to each other, but I just like Jose a little bit more than I do Luis Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of sits about the way that it is. I honestly think 1, 2, and 3 are completely interchangeable. I could argue, you could put McCullers at number 1. The reason I wouldn't do that is just the health concerns, especially, after, coming off of last season and, how much time that he missed. I don't know that he's going to be fully healthy. So probably that's why he falls into the 3 category, just because I trust Valdez and I trust Javier to stay healthy. And they're also close. And then 4 and 5, I think there is a gap though. I think, 1 through 3 is like the tier A here. And then 4 and 5 are in a little different tier, but you could put either one of those guys in most rotations and, they might be, the 2 or the 3. So, this is a very good rotation, not just in real life, but obviously what we're here for, talking fantasy wise. I'm happy to roster any one of these guys,
Same here.
At their value. So now let's get into the bullpen where, I guess, you would expect there to be a little bit of weakness, right? You've got such a stacked lineup. You've got such a stacked rotation. And no, we are not looking at a weak bullpen. We're looking at a very strong, a very deep bullpen, which, depending on the format that you're in, is either annoying or it's really awesome. If holds are worthless to you, then you don't really care beyond Presley probably. But if you're in a saves hold league or, a saves and holds league, then you're liking it. But at the top here, we got Ryan Presley locked in as a closer. Rafael Montero, Brian Abreu looking like the 7th and 8th inning guys. Hector Neris, Ryan Stanek, Phil Maton, Seth Martinez, and Brandon Bialik round out the entire thing. And, I mean, when you talk Hector Neris not even being like a high leverage guy, to me, that's pretty crazy. Wasn't that long ago that, he was a pretty well-regarded closer. And the fact that he's maybe like your 6th inning guy, let's say, that's ridiculous. But, let's focus here, Ryan Presley first. Do you think that he is still a top 10 closer? And would you take him, like within the top 100 picks?
Yeah, I do think he's still a top 10 closer, and I would take him in the top 100s. He had some injury problems with his neck last year, late in the season, but he came back for the playoffs, and he was amazing in the playoffs. He was dominant. I think he only allowed 4 hits in the 11 innings he pitched. And so that kind of took away from the injury concern for me there. And I mean, with as good as this team is, they'll be winning tons of games, maybe 100 games. So you get that closer on your team, I think is pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that, you could even – I mean, this is not a knock on Ryan Presley because I really like Ryan Presley, but I think that if you just, let's say, took him right out of the equation and you said, hey, Rafael Montero is going to be your closer, I think the answer is still the same, right?
Yep, I agree, 100%.
And it's not that I don't think that Presley is better than Montero. It's a lot of situational, right? Like this team is going to get a lot of save opportunities. And Montero is a good pitcher in his own right. So even if he was the guy, I would say, yeah, I think he's a top 10 closer. And yes, I would take him in the top 100. Now, if we're talking about, leagues that do have holds, how far down this list are you willing to go and say, hey, this is a guy I would consider rostering,
Definitely would consider Montero and Abreu. And if either of the top 3 there get injured, then you're looking at Neris and Stanek as possibilities for holds too. It just depends on the health of the other guys.
Yeah, I agree. I was debating on if I wanted to go down to Stanek or not. And I guess if I was just, in the initial draft, I don't think I would go that far down. But yeah, if any one of these guys gets hurt, which is going to happen, right? Like there's almost no chance that none of these 5 guys end up getting injured for some period of time. So offense, pitching, bullpen. I mean, no matter which way you go, this team is absolutely stacked. they are so deep. They're so talented that, you know, if you're a Houston Astros fan, then, you know, you can be proud to be a homer and take your guys because everyone else is going to want them as well. All right, well, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up here for our 2023 preview for the Houston Astros. We appreciate you tuning in. If you hadn't done so yet, go ahead and drop a like on there real quick for us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we got a new video coming out every single day going through the entirety of the league. Connor and myself are doing the American League, and Jason and JP are doing the National League. So make sure you check them all out. We'll see you next time.